All right, guys. I did a NBA playoff Western Conference strengths and weaknesses for every single contender. I excluded teams that I don't think are contenders, like the Rockets. Sorry to Houston fans, they're not contenders. I don't care what you say. I don't care. They're not contenders. I also excluded the Phoenix Suns, but I think everybody else excluded the Phoenix Suns as well. The Kings are out. Not talking about Minnesota. Minnesota is not good enough this year. Dallas, too many injuries. So all those teams I just mentioned, I'm not talking about in this video. I'll talk about only 6 teams, and the 6 teams are the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Golden State Warriors, and the Clippers. Okay, these 6 teams I could see contending to be a Western Conference final team or making to the finals or even being champions, right? So I'm going to break down the strengths and weaknesses for these 6 teams. Let's start off first with the number 1 seed, right? We're going to start with Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they're a good team. They've lost only 12 games so far this season. They're currently 53-12, and these are their strengths. They're a tremendous road team, right? They're a tremendous road team. They're 24-7. They also are 28-5 at home. So they're just a good team all in all. But being a good road warrior is key in playoff basketball, right? Especially if they're 2-0, they're 2-0 to start, or even if they lose a game at home, right? You can have the ability to come back, steal another game on the road, and level out the playing field if you're OKC, if you're the number 1 seed, right? So you have home court advantage throughout the West, which is a huge strength, right? Um, they have the front runner for MVP. Even though he's not my MVP, I think Jokic deserves MVP. The guy's a monster. He's unguardable. Um, but I think he should be MVP. But you can't complain saying the SGA is MVP. This is not as bad as Joel Embiid stealing Nikola Jokic's MVP 2 years ago, right? So another thing that's good, they have good shooters around them. They have 4 rotation players that's shooting 38.5% from three. Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort, they're all shooting around 40%. So that's what you need. You need guys to be able to shoot, especially Lou Dort, who's been known as not really a shooter. But if he's keeping people honest, what you need, that's all Shea Gilgeous needs, is right? SGA needs. Okay. So that's basically their strengths, right? There's nothing else to talk about. Their weaknesses, right? Their weaknesses, they have a couple. They have a 4, actually, let's say. So the NBA Cup versus the Bucks earlier this year. What happened in that game? That game was low scoring. SGA did not play well. But you know who else didn't play well? Their entire team. And that's a problem. If SGA is not having an SGA night where he's scoring 30 plus, who can step up? Don't tell me Jalen Williams that scored 40 against the Spurs, who have inept defense, right? Are allergic to freaking sitting in a stance. Don't tell me the Spurs. So Jalen Williams isn't good enough to carry a team as your second option. Chet Holmgren's injured. Is injured most of the time, right? And we don't know how good he can be yet. So that's their issue, right? And SGA has no help, as this I say here in my second bullet point. He has no help at all. The third point is they have no forwards or center depth. Kenrich Williams, your backup. He's a good shooter, but he's like 6'9", 6'8". Usman Dang, come on. I mean, let's be serious. Who else is there? Chet, injury prone. Isaiah Hartenstein's a good center. Then Jalen Williams, the other one, is decent, but they're not gonna. What's the rotation on that? Like, who are we playing? If Isaiah Hartenstein goes down, if Chet Holmgren's not playing, who are we playing? So their bench scoring also is inconsistent. They're 18th. I know they have Aaron Wiggins as a good bench scorer, but that's basically it. You need more. You need more help. You need help to. You need to give help to SGA, and SGA I don't think has that this year. Maybe Jalen Williams will become that guy next year, but I don't think this year, right? So next, let's go to the Nuggets, right? The Nuggets right now are the 2 seed. They're 42-23, and what are their strengths? Their strengths is they have the best player in the world, right? Jokic is the best player in the world. It's not even close. No one's even comparing to him. This guy just dropped 30, 20, and 20 in a game last Friday. They have proven championship experience, right? They won an NBA title 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So they beat the Miami Heat. They have proven championship experience. Mike Malone's a good coach. They have the best transition offense in the NBA this year. They average around 20 points a game in transition, which is key because if you're not going to call fouls in the playoffs like refs tend to not do, then you have to get easy points and easy baskets. That happens in transition, right? and they have multiple players that can take over, right? You can have MPJ can go for Michael Porter Jr. can go for like 25 a night, right, and play well. They have Jamal Murray who can be a pick and roll maestro and dominate. They have Jokic, obviously. They have good players around them. Russell Westbrook can be a good pick and roll maestro. They have good players around them that can help them succeed, especially if Russell Westbrook's playing not like a retard, you know? So that's just what it is, right? And they've already had championship experience. I showed you that right there. And that's what it is. So their weakness is the lack of three-point shooting, right? They're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in basketball. I think they take the least in the NBA. They're turnover prone. Jamal Murray's turnover prone. Jokic is even turnover prone. Russell Westbrook's obviously turnover prone. They have a lot of turnovers. I think they were top 6 or 7 in turnovers, and they rely too much on Jokic, right? They rely too much on Jokic. If Jokic goes down, this whole team flutters. We can say that about any team, right? Any NBA team, but there's proven cases where your second guy goes down and you're fine, a la Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, right? When Tyler Hero got hurt in the first like 10 minutes of the Milwaukee Bucks series in the opening round, they still went to the finals, right? Goran Dragic got hurt. He still went to the finals. Okay. So the reliance on Jokic, they rely too much on him. The whole offense revolves around him. If he goes down, his team's done, right? The lack of depth is concerning. This is their depth. Literally, you have Zeke Naji, Peyton Watson, and Russell Westbrook. Those three are their main bench players, and that's a problem. They also have Pickett off the bench. They also have DeAndre Jordan off the bench. But those are basically their key main role players, and I don't know if that's good enough to help contend this year. Jokic is going to have to play 40-plus minutes every game for them to be good this year. Next, Lakers, right? Lakers, obviously, they have the two best passers in the NBA, right? Luka and LeBron. And we're talking about Jalen Williams. Can he carry a game? Yes or no? I don't think he can in the playoffs with set schemes, tape on him, 7 straight games of tape, whatever it is, right? How many games they're playing? I don't know if he can take over a game, but Luka and LeBron can take over an entire series by themselves, right? And that's what you need. You need to have a guy where LeBron can score 30 throughout an entire series, or Luka score 30 in like an entire series. That's what you need. That's something Jaylen Brown can do with Tatum. Those two guys can do it, right? Jamal Murray's proven that he can do it. He did it versus the Lakers every single game versus the Lakers last year or 2 years ago. Last year did this every single game versus the Lakers. Carry the team. So Luka and LeBron can carry an entire series, right? Those two are the best top 7 players in the NBA right now. Luka is probably number 2 or number 3. It's impossible to guard Luka pick and roll, right? It's impossible to guard Luka pick and roll. So Luka pick and roll, you have to understand about Luka. He has the most unguardable play in basketball right now. Before it used to be the Shaq dunk, right? Shaq post up, you do a cross screen, a flex screen to Shaq. He's right there down the middle. Easy dunk, drop step dunk, right? Cross screen down the paint. Now it's Luka pick and roll. This is the most unstoppable play in basketball, right? It was Curry pick and roll. Now it's Luka pick and roll. So Luka would get the ball top of the key. He would get a pick by Jackson Hayes, okay? Or Dorian Finney-Smith. And they would have to blitz him because they don't want to switch, right? So let's say we have the Pelicans, because I watch this versus the Pelicans, okay? So you have the Pelicans. You don't want to have Kelly Olynyk guarding Luka. So you have to send the double. So Trey Murphy and Kelly Olynyk will have to double Luka, forcing the ball out of his hands. But then Dorian Finney-Smith is running a short pop, right? Or a short roll, and he'll slide a bounce pass in between Kelly Olynyk and Trey Murphy. So Dorian Finney-Smith will now be playing 4-on-3. And then you have Austin Reeves in one quarter, you have Rui Hachimura in the other corner, and you have LeBron slashing, right? Or you have Jackson Hayes down there on the dunker spot ready for an alley-oop. That play is unguardable. You can't do it. Steph Curry used to do it with Draymond Green. That's why Draymond Green averaged 7 or 8 assists every single game, because he's playing 4-on-3 basketball. You just have to make the right reads. And that right now is unstoppable, okay? So and it's unguardable to guard. It's unguardable to defend the Luka pick and roll. And plus, the Lakers have really good wing defenders. I mean, you have Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui, Vanderbilt. They play hard. I mean, if you didn't see the scheme they had against Nikola Jokic in that ABC game on Saturday a couple weeks ago, they triple teamed him when he didn't have the ball. It was really good scheming by JJ Redick right there. And They have three really good defenders, especially Vanderbilt and Finney Smith. They're really, really, really good defenders. So that's their strengths. Their weaknesses, though, they have lack of center depth. It's Jackson Hayes and Trey Jameson, and I don't think Trey Jameson is going to play a lot in the playoffs. So they basically have Jackson Hayes, and against a team like the Nuggets, I don't know how they're going to do that. I mean, like, they have to probably try to guard three like they did last time. But when Mike Malone, who's also another good coach for the Nuggets, is ready to adjust, what is JJ Redick going to counter with? And that's the problem, right? Their 3-point shooting is bad. They only have one guy that shoots 39 plus, and I think that's Hachimura. Luka shooting like 36, LeBron shooting 38, Reeves like 36. So that's concerning. Their 3-point shooting, especially when you need, in the Luka pick and roll at the top of the key, you need shooters to be able to knock down shots. LeBron is old and Luka's weight. Is Luka's weight actually an issue? I don't think so, but I think his injury concerns could have a factor. He plays a lot of minutes. He's playing 36 minutes now again, and he's going to be bumped up to 40 in the playoffs. I know he's only 25, 26 years old, but it's going to be a problem. And LeBron's 40. So how long can he play for? Can he sustain playing a 6-game series hard, right? Where it's grit and grind. Can he do that? I don't know. So that's the issue right now. Their bench depth also is a problem. Their bench depth, obviously, I mentioned they have Trey Jameson. Let's go back. They have Trey Jameson. They have who's it? Goodwin. Finney Smith will be coming off the bench when Rui comes back, or Vanderbilt will be coming off the bench when Rui comes back. So that's the issue, right? That's the issue. Next, Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies, they have balanced scoring. They have three guys, right? They have three guys that score around 20 a game. Desmond Bane, John Morant, Jaren Jackson. So they have three guys that score around 20 a game. And that's good because you need guys to be able to take over, right? You can have Desmond Bane score 25 points, being a main threat, having the ball in clutch situations. You can obviously have John Morant do that. You can obviously, and then you can have Jaren Jackson in the post throwing up left-hand bullshit floaters that always go in, right? So that's what they have. They also have a really good bench depth, right? You have Luke Kennard, a good shooter. You have Vince Williams. You have Gigi Jackson. Those guys play really hard. This team plays hard, and that's a huge component in being a successful in the playoffs. So also offensive rebounding, number 2 in the NBA. They have good offensive rebounding. I mean, what else can I say? You need to be able to rebound in the NBA, and especially offensively, if you can steal some possessions, get putbacks, that's good. They also have good playoff experience. They didn't make it last year, but 2 years ago, they were the number 1 or number 2 seed. They still have their core together, obviously, with Bane, Morant, and Jackson. So that's key. But their weaknesses, they have injury concerns, right? Because Jaren Jackson's hurt. John Morant's always hurt. Somebody else was just hurt recently. Anyways, there's 2 main stars are hurt constantly, and that's a problem. They have lack of wing defenders. I mean, they have Jeremiah Wells, who's a rookie that's supposed to be a wing defender. Gigi Jackson doesn't really play that good of defense. Luke Kennard doesn't play that good of defense. So their wing defenders is bad. They're number 2 in the NBA in turnovers, and their stars can be inconsistent. I've seen so many games of John Morant shooting 8 for 25 or 5 for 15 and just being a complete non-factor in the offense. And also including Jaren Jackson. I've seen him get in foul trouble, not be able to score consistently from the 3, and that's also an issue, right? So that's a big problem by the Memphis Grizzlies they have. Next is the Warriors. So the Warriors, they have 2 players that can carry an entire team. Jimmy Butler can carry an entire team. He proved that in the bubble. He proved that when they played against the Nuggets. He carries an entire team. He has nobody on his team. Do not tell me Bam Adebayo is good at basketball at all. He's not. He's good, but he's not a number 2 good. And he carried that Miami Heat team twice to NBA Finals, and that's what you need, right? They also have great wing depth. Remember, Jonathan Kuminga is coming back Thursday, so now you have Kuminga, Moody, and Butler. Come on, how are you gonna stop? How are you gonna score on a team that long on their wings, right? They have high IQ basketball players. Draymond Green, obviously, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, great IQ, right? They have really good IQ. And what else do you need? You have championship experience. Also, I told you Jimmy Butler went to 2 finals. These guys won 4 rings. Steve Kerr's won 4 rings, more as a player. So that's just what it is. Weaknesses, right? They're getting old. Obviously, Steph Curry's past 35. Jimmy Butler's getting up there. Draymond Green's past 35. They have no center. Quentin Post is their only center. That's an issue because how are they going to play if Quentin Post gets in foul trouble? How are they going to play? You have Kevon Looney, obviously, but he's not the same player he was 3 years ago. Bench inconsistency. Their bench is kind of bad. I mean, it's just Buddy Hield, Gary Payton, 2, Kevon Looney, Post. Post is a sometime starter. Trace Jackson Davis is out of the rotation. So that's just what it is. And they have lack of a third scorer, right? It's just Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. Who's gonna step up and be the third scorer? Buddy Hield is a shooter, not a scorer. Moses Moody is just a good all-around player. They don't have that third guy. Pajemski is not good enough to be a third scorer. And that's just the issue with them, right? That's just the issue. Next is the Clippers. The Clippers are my favorite team. So I'm going to obviously include here. They have 3 main scorers. They have Kawhi. They have Norman Powell. They have James Harden. 3 really good scorers. 3 guys that can take over. Norman Powell obviously can't take over as well as Kawhi or will get the same respect as Kawhi and James Harden. But that's just what it is. Great wing defenders also. I mean, look at this wing defending. You have Chris Dunn, Kawhi, Nick Batum, Derrick Jones Jr., Amir Coffey plays good defense. Their team is stacked on wing defenders. You know why is that? Because Kawhi Leonard literally said, hey, we have to double. Tyronn Lue was like, we have to double. We have to double when Luka gets the ball this is in the bubble. And then Kawhi goes, why? If you can't play defense, don't play. Why do you need a double? And they took that to heart. Lawrence Frank, whoever the GM is, they took it to heart. Like, we're getting wing defenders, and so no one needs to double. And that's just what they do. So 3 main scorers, right? That's their strength. They have Zubac, great wing defenders, many years of playoff experience, right? Because Kawhi's won championships. James Harden's been in the playoffs for a decade. They have 3-point shooting. They're really good. They have 3 guys over 40%. So that's just what they have. I mean, James Harden, also a good pick and roll player, one of the best. I think he's the best of all time, honestly. Luka's climbing up there, but I think James Harden's still the best of all time. The way he manipulates floaters to alley-oops, to Clint Capella back in the day, to Dwight Howard, to Zubac now. The way he manipulates that is insane. So this is their weaknesses, though. Injury concerns. Powell's been out for a long time now. He has a hamstring problem. Kawhi also always has injury problems. So let's not talk about that. Stars are too old or past their prime. Obviously, Kawhi and James Harden aren't the same players they were 4 or 5 years ago, right? And that's an issue. And in crunch time, also an issue is it's just too much isolation basketball. James Harden goes between the legs 100 times in a row, shoots a step back or goes to the basket and has to throw a grenade to Batum, to Coffey, to Powell to shoot a shot in the corner with 3 seconds left. And that obviously has shown it doesn't work. And their fan support's really bad. I mean, the Intuit Dome is freaking empty half the time. And I feel bad, but they're a $1 billion corporation, so I can't really feel bad. But their non-existent fan support is the worst, and that's just what it is. But anyways, I have a prediction of who I believe is going to make it. I think that who's going to make it is the Golden State Warriors. I think they have the best chance. And then I'll probably say second is Lakers, third is OKC. The worst chance is the Grizzlies. Did I spell chance right? Yeah, I did. Worst chance is the Grizzlies. Their lack of star consistency is a problem, and that's just what it is. Anyways, guys, thank you. I'm making this video. I'm probably gonna make another one tomorrow about the East. So hope you guys enjoy. Like and subscribe, please.